Yeah, man, we here. Beautiful sunny day. We're coming to bring the light. You know what I'm saying? We're coming to bring the light. Talking about empowerment and helping people shift their thinking. It's all about the spirit and the mind and the matter. It's about.
Able to move his career around in places that a lot of us wouldn't even fathom. So we are in for a treat. I'm happy to be introducing him. Give him a round of applause. Thank you back.
I want to do something real quick before we get started. So just to break the ice and get a little bit more acquainted with one another. So is everybody okay with at least giving a handshake or a hug? Just Okay, y'all ain't at church. Now I said 2-3 people. Y'all gonna say 30 All right, that's beautiful.
All right, I know you have had a wealth of experience and we want to hear some of it. Just for moving to athletics, like I said, I named a little bit in your intro, but athletics, you're an author, you're an inspirational speaker, you're a philanthropist, you're an actor. Maybe give us a flavor of like what all you've been able to accomplish in your life and what was kind of the critical piece. I know we're talking about empowerment today, so that's been the theme of the day, but you have to be amazingly empowered to be able to tackle all of those areas and not just, as my little book says, to just, you have to be greater than the game, right? So what was that piece that helped that be possible for you to get into all those areas?
Janae, I don't think it was just one thing. I think it's a collective of learning and living life, and you get these lessons and you get these tests, and then you add those tools onto the tool belt of experience, and then you use those things to forge forward. You know, playing pro football, you know, when I was 7 years old, I started playing this game, and I didn't know I was going to be in the league until I got to college, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I really rather start taking this thing serious because I have an opportunity. But a lot of the times we don't understand that if you look at your habitat is where you're at. If you want to change your habitat, you have to change your habits, and you have to be intentional about your habits. So if you don't like where your health is, or your wealth is, or your love is, then that potential, that specific place that you're in is based upon your habits. And it really starts with your spiritual and your mental habits first, because it's always mind over matter. We just look at the matter first, and we don't look at the mind. But if you look at your personal reality, and you want to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. And when you do that, then everything in your life will shift. I didn't even know I was manifesting or bringing forth these things to my life. My mom just always said, my dad always said, be a leader, not a follower. They always said, write down your goals. And I didn't know, and they didn't even know. My dad was 17, my mom was 18. They were babies when I came about. But they knew enough to give me some tools to drive my life in the direction that I wanted it to go in. And so I didn't even know I was going to be an actor. I didn't know I was going to write 2 books. I didn't know I was going to be and do all these things. But there was a drive in me that just would not stop. And so as life continued to bring things my way, I just received it. You know, my degree was in international business. So I grew up in South Florida, Pompano Beach to be exact. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. And it was a melting pot. I grew up with Spanish people, Haitian people, different cultures. And, you know, j'ai étudié français à l'école universitaire. Je parle français un petit peu. So I took French as my foreign language. But when I graduated from Bethune-Cookman University, I didn't even know what an EIN number was. So how do you have an international business degree, but you don't know what an EIN number is? Something's going on.
Yeah.
So all these different lessons. You know, in school, you get the lesson, then the test. But in life, you get the test and the lesson.
Yeah.
That's how this thing works. So when you continue to grow and go, you just, like I said, use those tools to move forward.
Yeah. I like that. If you want to change your habitat, you have to change your habits.
Absolutely.
Love that. All right. So what's been, I can maybe give us obviously you've done a lot of stuff, but what's been a highlight for you on the course of your journey and as you kind of delved into things that you probably never thought you knew or could do?
Well, Janae, for me, I think it will probably be being a father and really, really understanding the power in that. My daughter's 10 and my son is 3. Honor and power are their names. I named my daughter Honor and I named my son Power because there's power in the words that you speak. So you can't crack on a child in school if their name is Power. Oh, you're Power. Yeah, so what? You know what I mean? But more importantly, you have to live up to that. A lot of people want honor, but they're not honorable. A lot of people want love, but are you lovable? You want respect, but are you respectable? And so names and words carry so much weight. And so when I recognize the power of fatherhood and what that meant, because no one's going to remember you for running up and down the football field. Many of you probably never even knew what team I played for. I played on 11 teams in 10 years. So at one point, I was the only pro football player to play on 11 pro football teams in 10 years. Either I was real good or I just like to move around a lot. Or I was real bad because I kept getting cut, traded, and laid off, but I didn't realize that was getting me relaunched, reloaded, and ready for my takeoff. Running up and down the football field was just a small inkling of what my true purpose really is. When I recognize that being an actor and an author and an entertainer and a speaker, those are all great things. No one's going to remember you for that. They're going to remember you for how you tap into their spirit, into their soul, into their heart, right? So that's the most important thing. The TV film, the football, that's just a conduit. Yeah. Most people will want to pull you in because you're doing those things, but then when you hear someone speak, that supersedes the game. That's why my first book was called Greater Than the Game. I had to recognize that my value, my worth was greater than what I was doing. But you have a purpose and a value and a worth that supersedes everything. And you talk about power. You can't get to empower before you deal with power. And empower it used to be spelled I-M, not E-M. The old origin of that word was spelled I-M, just like, and if you break that word down, it's I'm power. Just like there's nothing that's impossible. If you break down impossible, it's really I'm possible. But if you deal with people, places, and things that tell you that you're not valuable and tell you that only your worth is based on your bank account or your occupation, then you'll always be broke or broken because money will come and go. Your occupation can come and go, but your value, your essence, who you are at the core, that's always gonna be there.
Let's maybe I want everybody to leave with something. Is there a mantra? Is there some way that you boil it down for yourself as far as nuggets that folks can leave with on what does true leadership look like and a true empowered leader, right? What does that look like for you?
I think we covered like the basis and the foundation of it, but the specificity of it is when nobody's looking, what are you doing? Like really, do you have the propensity to just turn it on for people? Or is this authentically you? The most powerful energy that a human being can emit is actually authenticity. It's not love, it's not respect, it's authenticity. When you're in the presence of energy that's authentic, if you don't feel that, you might as well go get in the grave. When you are in a presence of authentic energy and you know that this person is really who they say they are, not just by their words, but by their aura. See, your energy announces you before you say one word. And so if you don't have an authentic energy, man, people not feeling that. All right, man, get out of here, bro. You're not real. And you can be doing everything right. You can be doing it by the book. You show up early, and you have the best presentation. But the presentation is not meeting the people where they are. So then you make no inroads to the goal that you have as a team. But when you come in authentic, listen guys, I don't know, this PowerPoint might be messed up, but just hear me out.
Yeah.
You know, look, my children, we had a long night. Keep it real. Man, the truth shall make you free, not the lie. But unfortunately, society told you to go to the library, not the truth library. They bury the truth in the lies.
Yeah.
You don't think the textbooks that we've read have lies in them? How can you say you discovered America when people are already here? We know that was a lie. Okay? So I'm just saying, just being real, I don't want to get too controversial here. But I mean, there were people already here before Christopher Columbus got here. We agree on that? So we know that's a lie. So if that was a lie, what else have they lied about? Come on. And so it's like, but when you get authentic energy and authentic people that are sharing information, not affirmation, it's always coming back to you. You are the God of your reality. You are the Lord God of your reality. Now you're not the main, whatever you think God is, universal God. But I'm talking about if you want to look at your reality and you want to see where you're at, you created that. Your outer world is just a reflection of your inner thoughts. That's why I was saying the inner dialogue that we have with ourselves, the inner conversation, it has to be something that's very, very intentional. And you can't will your way to it. It's a literally assumption. It's an assumption that's so powerful that you know that no matter what I see in the physical, I don't even care what I see. You see love handles in the mirror, but I don't see that. So now I've changed my view to see the six-pack, and I promise you, it's gonna come.
What do you think keeps people from being authentic?